Good morning and welcome. It's the middle of January and we're having a fairly warmish day in Northeast Florida. We've had the tail end of some of the terrible weather that has been happening. In fact, over Christmas, the temperatures went down to the low 20s during the night and didn't get much warmer than 40 during the day. So it's not something we're used to, but it doesn't last forever. Today is a rather pleasant day. So I decided no more excuses, Carol. I thought I might try to join Rachel at Roxy Creations and her sister Sarah are doing an ongoing project, and this year they're going to do Down the Garden Path, and I thought, oh, let me give that a try. And the reason I say give it a try is because 3 years ago, I had breast cancer, and the chemo that I had to cure me or put me in remission, whichever doctor happens to use. The answer is I had 9 months, and the chemo affected the nerves in the tips of my fingers, so they're not, they're kind of numb, and my feet are too. And of course, it was supposed to go away over months. Well, this is 3 years, and it's there, and my feet seem to be getting worse. But that's another story. I don't stitch with my feet. So what I'm going to try to do is stitch again. I've tried a few times, and I wasn't too lucky. Let me explain what that meant to me. 2 years ago, I wanted to use a piece of Rachel's gorgeous fabric, old fabric. So I put a design and some lace on here, and it was really not doable. Particularly this satin stitch was not doable for me because the fabric is too thick, and it made my hands, my fingertips hurt too much. So I had to set that aside, and of course I had a little pout, which you can expect in a situation like that, I'm sure. And so not a no on that. And then when Rachel was talking about a project using a spool, I thought, oh, my friend Linny had sent me this spool with this fabric attached to it, and I thought, isn't that just lovely? Wouldn't that work a treat? And then I rethought. I decided that I really, in my heart, did not want to get into something quite so small. Just before I was diagnosed, this was my first piece of slow stitching, and I put it on a piece of, I backed it with a piece of felt, and this was great. This was great fun doing. But I had my fingers that were my fingers, and so that's what happened. And I thought, well, this is even smaller than this, and I changed my mind. It's just the pieces that I would be applying would be minuscule, and I didn't think I could really, on a personal level, get that fascinated by this width. No. So I went into my china cabinet, and which no longer has china, it has pictures and so forth. And I looked at this and I thought, well, this was my first original needlepoint that I did in the 40 years prior to my change of life, let's say. And I thought, well, why couldn't I kind of do something similar to this? And I could do that. And then I thought more about that, and said, let's not set yourself up for a no-can-do. Just the months before, I had 3 years ago, I had ordered this fabric because I loved it to death. And it's upholstery fabric, as you can see. And the design is absolutely gorgeous. And I thought, oh, look at the potential here. Now, this is not to say that this doesn't have potential. I will, if I'm successful with this job that I'm going to be starting and sharing with you, if I'm successful here, I might try this, but I would have to be careful to put it on a background that would be not too heavy. See, this has this is unless you have done this, you see what I mean. This is not that easy to do at length, but I thought maybe. So I'm not ever giving up on this maybe, because these pieces could be cut out and used as slow stitch collage. Alrighty, I just wanted to share why I have picked the pieces that I have picked. Okay, let's get the show and tell out of the way. Okay, now here you go, out of harm's way. I took out my my green drawer. These are all my leftover threads from my needlepoint days, which was 40 years of my life. And then I discovered mixed media, and then after mixed media, junk journaling, and well, the whole world changed. So, let me put this aside before I explain. Okay. Here is what I have come down to. As you can see, it's not small. But I wanted to share what I've used. This is batting that you can get on Amazon or any other place. It's softer and easier and more malleable than felt, which I did on the first piece I showed you. So I have a piece of this and a piece of this very nice fine cotton. It's, well, one can almost see your fingers through it. Very nice and fine. And I thought these two might be just what it takes, because I'm trying, my goal is not to set myself up for failure. So I have come up with these pieces, which I will show you, but first I'll show you, these were the pieces that I picked out for if I was going to do a smaller piece, but I still think they might be useful. Never say never. So, these bits of lace were from when I had an Etsy shop, and I shall use them a bit. And these pieces, still usable. This fabric is nice and thin and fine for fingertip problems. So, I put my tools over here. And this is a spare piece of this cotton for another project. So, I learned over the years from Gail Augustinelli that this envelope, manila envelope, makes a wonderful size and background for making of journal covers. So, can't you just see this? This is this is a 9 by 12, of course, and when you fold it, you've got 6 by 9. And so, I use this as my template. And I cut a piece of this using that, and so we have the nice soft batting background, which feels so good, and the fabric attached. So this will be the journal cover. Alrighty, now I have always, when working on this sort of thing, let me get that out of the way also, I have used sari for an edging. And so what I'm going to do now, so first you cut out these two pieces in 6 by 9, and if you decide to work along with me, and I like to cover those edges. So now the big question is, I took, and you can see I put a mild iron on this sari, but you can use anything to kind of edge this. I don't know whether I want to edge it by doing it by sewing along here and then turning, which makes a nice edge. So I would sew it first along here, then I would turn it at the stitch line, fold it over to the back, and then I would put a running stitch on to hold this back down. Or, as I've done before, I could just do this and have that for an edging. I wish I could have your opinion, but I think that other choice was a little bit too, what word can I use, formal. This effect is very finished, a very finished look. I think it's too hard-edged for me. Yes, I do. Okay, so let's get the sari down with another length of there. Okay, and I have another long one for the other side and two shorter ones. Well, I know there were two shorter ones. It's probably stuck to something. But that's part of the fun of working and having all of these piles of things around. But this is going to be the edging. I shall have to go over to the other table and have a look, or cut out another piece of sari. Not a problem. Let's go. I'm going to use regular white. I'm going to use regular white sewing thread, and let's do this correctly, Carol. I can see through the sari and see that that is where it needs to be. And since I'm right-handed, I'm going to fold this over and sew through. Fold it over. And sew through. I want that to be closer to the fabric. I want to be able to feel that fabric in there. Okay. don't like that at all. Let's do that one better. Okay, and last but not least, so it's going to be the edge, and you can see that's what it's going to look like on the back. Not that we're going to worry about the back. Okay. I'm going to, for my needlepoint days, never cut a long thread, but you know, it's, slow stitching does not follow rules like that. And my needle threader, let's see. And my needle, let's see what size we have here. Let's do a little bigger one. Ouch. The other day, I was actually able to thread without the needle threader. Maybe it was just a one experience. Yes, probably. Alrighty. And I promise that in the future, well, this is what I'm going to do. Therefore, I'm going to have to go into my other collection of threaders and get the fine wire one, because that will work. Let's, I'm going to stop, and I will return momentarily. Well, I found my other piece of edging, which is good, and this is the fine threader. It is, it's rather old-fashioned. That kind is around for a long time. You'll be able to find them probably on Amazon. Now let's see. And it goes right through any size hole, even tiny, tiny, tiny ones. Oh my. I'm going to try to keep myself from getting frustrated, and I hope that you will decide to stick with me, but if you don't, God knows I understand. This doesn't seem to want to work, so we go to a different size needle. They seem to be all the same size. So now, let's see what we have hiding in here. This is a beading needle, a very fine one, as you can see. And this one is going to be a bit of a pill, but okay, I'm going to stop now for a while until I get this problem solved, and I will get back with you. Okay, mission accomplished. I found the needle that's going to do the job as far as working with the thread. I'm going to just pull up the the thread from underneath. Alrighty, and I'm going to make rather an invisible stitch along the edge. In other words, we're coming back and starting the stitch very close to where the thread comes out. And all you have then are little, kind of minuscule dots. Minuscule dots of thread. Let me show you nice and close. See the 1, 2, 3. You can make yours a little larger if you'd like. And as you can see now why I put the needles in. Oopsie daisy, look what I just did. Gee, Carol. Not paying attention. So out you come. And here we go again. We're in. Now, a year or two ago, I would have put this down and said, you can't do it, Carol. And this was an error on the maker, not the equipment, so you, of course, will be able to, and we can take this out now, you, of course, will be able to do this a lot faster. But I hope that you will do some slow stitching like this. Start a project in which you have no idea where you're going. And now, when I get through with this side, I'm going to, did it again. When my mind starts working to speak to you, so that's the effect that we're going to have. I'm not going to subject you to that little goodie again. Okay, I have picked some fabrics that I want to use, primarily because these flowers, this flower pattern and this fabric is quite easy to work with for my fingers. This does not mean that you would have to do the same thing. I'm going to be doing some collage cutting of these so that I can put them here and there on my white background, and that's going to be kind of bright, so I'm going to have to do a lot of stitching on this in order to take away some of that brightness, or I'm thinking about whether I might want to do some stenciling. Do some stenciling here and there. That's in my mind. Now, I went and found my pile of Cantha fabric, which I've had for a few years also, and I saw this. Of course, this fabric is so lovely and fine. It will be quite a pleasure for me to work with. And I picked this one. In fact, you can see I've already used it, and it is so delicious and fine. I thought this might work. I don't know, but this might work. And then, what do we have here? Oh, I spied these two, and I think they would work rather nicely, and they could be over on the edge. So I picked those two, and I picked this again to work with, and we also have the leaves here that I will probably leave on. If I cut this flower out, I'll probably leave that leaf there. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here, Carol. I just wanted to let you see where I was heading. Now, I wonder if some of this might be pretty too. Don't know, but I'm thinking it might have some potential. And then there are these pieces here and there, and I think they will work nicely. So let me set those aside. Let me thread up and get around here, and when I get at least half of this done, I will get back with you, and we'll take another step. I'll be back. Okay, I wanted to come back to show you how we were going to deal with this edge. We're going to turn this one down. We're going to apply this one. Because we want them to be about the same width. It doesn't have to be exact, of course. This is slow stitching. We don't do exact. This is not Carol's needlepoint. Okay. And I went through to the back so that I could come through to the front. And just put a little catch stitch back here to hold things down. Are we about the same? Yes, we are. We're almost the same on the front, but there again. There again, we have an understanding with ourselves that this is our stitchery, and if these two sides are off by 1/8 of an inch, we'll have to make up our minds whether or not we're going to think too much about that. Now, I want to show you what this is. This is I'm sure those of you who know that this is a needle puller. I had one stitch over here, wasn't that easy on my fingers, so I just put it around the needle and give a tug, and it goes through just like magic. Other people have things that they put tips over the tips of their fingers, but that's okay if you've got larger size fingertips. Mine, I bought one or two and seem to tend to fall off. There we go. So, I'm going to stop again and come back when this row is finished, and then we'll talk about fussy cutting the fabric, which is just as much fun as fussy cutting paper. And we are about to run out of thread. And I promise not to subject you to that again. Going to declare this the end on this thread. So we're going over to the back. And coming through the batting and the silk. We went through 3 times. That's me. We each have our own. And so we have our start, and I'm going to put this in here so that I don't end up saying, now where is it? Because this needle is working a treat, and we don't lose goodies like that if we can help it. Now, I always like a side flower. Let's see how this is going to cut. Let's test it. And there again, this is not to be done, at least for me, by my standards, on this even as seriously as you would get with paper. And then we'll have to decide what color. I think I'll use a DMC 6-stranded floss, cotton floss, to attach this. And think I'm going to leave this guy here. So there, we have number 1. He could be applied right there. Close to the edge, but not right on the edge so that you hide it completely. We don't want to do that, but we want to be close. And right here. Okay, now we could do these two next because they're attached. I'm not usually quite this colorful, but as you can see how easily this cuts on a good pair of well, I guess we're going to just, no, we can do that. We can make up for that. We're just going to do this. As we often say, nothing with paper is not fixable. Well, works the same way right here. Oh, and look at this happy friend. Okay. Whoops. Now. Oh, that's where the bits are coming out on the white background. It's from the cutting. There. Now, okay. We could do this nicely. This would be the center of the journal. That could be there. So I do hope you have the idea and that you will join me when I come back. I'll have all of the outside attached and some more pieces cut, and we'll do some auditioning for other bits and pieces that we might or might not want to use. I'm thinking some lace might not hurt. I do hope you have been able to tolerate my situation, but and I certainly understand if you are not able to. But if you are, please come and visit me again for number 2, and I would appreciate your giving me a thumbs up, leaving a comment, I do answer them, and subscribing to my channel. I will be seeing you very shortly for number 2, in which the edge will be the frame, or the edging will be here, so we have this nice finished edge, and some more bits cut out of this, and other things, and we'll have some fun playing. Bye now.